yet. I'm going to be watching it tomorrow with my schedule, so I'm sure I'm going to love it. But
well, we hope so.
Try not to spoil anything.
Yeah, we'll be.
So let me ask Martha a question first. How did you first get attached to the project? What was it about it that interested you?
I first became attached when I was at Sundance 2 years ago. I did this short film for Sundance TV. They brought alumni from Sundance to make these shorts, and my friend and producer Kristen Mann came with me. Sorry, she's trying to get me. It's weird because there's no wall. All right, my friend, and producer Kristen Mann came with me because we had a project that we were trying to get off the ground, which is this kind of expensive car stunt, female stunt driver movie set in the 70s. And she had just read To the Stars, An Agent at Paradigm, and sent it to her. And she's like, look, we should try to make something a little less expensive, so we're making something. And I think you should read the script. And I read it, and I instantly, I don't do this a lot because my agents are sent, they send me scripts. And this was the first time I had actually been sent something that I could see myself really doing. So that meant something. You know, I've been reading scripts for 4 years.
Right, and something about this one stood out to you.
I was just like, I think I could do this story justice. And, you know, because that's, when you make a movie, you're living with it for a very long time, and you have to love it.
Right.
And I just love these characters. I love the setting. I love the, I love the time period, and I wanted to flex my muscles with the period piece, see what I could do.
And is that like tied in your decision to do the black and white?
Yeah, when I read the script, I saw it in black and white, probably because my favorite movie of all time is The Last Picture Show. So that's probably why I saw it that way. But once I started thinking about it, it felt really right. And then as we were editing it, I was just like, of course, this has to be in black and white, because it really does something where it shifts all the focus on the characters' faces and their performance in a way that is almost dreamlike. I don't know. I like it. It's good. It's a good choice.
And you shot in Oklahoma, right?
Yeah, we shot in Oklahoma.
Was that a specific decision? It's based in Oklahoma too, right? Is that correct?
It was based in Kansas, and we changed it. We changed it to Oklahoma.
Okay.
I mean, we were like on the border of Oklahoma and Kansas, basically, when we were shooting it. And I think that Shannon, the writer, her grandparents were from Kansas. So, and there's some ties to some family stuff in the story. But from my standpoint, I wanted this like vast, dusty, endless sort of claustrophobic place for Iris to grow up in.
Right. Okay, thank you. Tell us a little bit about your characters.
I play Iris Dearborn. She's a shy farmer's daughter with a little social anxiety, actually just probably general anxiety. And she has a very complex relationship with both of her parents, who are both trying their hardest, but it's a tough place in time period in which to raise a child, and she's also being bullied a lot at school, and she just simply, she isn't happy. She's a very, very sad person, and when she meets Liana's Maggie character, she begins to really draw her out of her shell, and you really propel the arc for Iris.
I play Maggie Richmond. I'm kind of the new girl in town who moves for unknown reasons with her family to Wakita. And yeah, she's sort of reckless and vibrant, but has a lot of layers that sort of start to get peeled back as the story moves forward. But she has, I mean, there's a lot of like darkness and a lot of, I think the one thing that I enjoyed like exploring in Maggie is the fact that almost every like action or word or thought is actually very controlled, I think, with her, and I think there's a lot riding on her existence in Wakita, and yeah, it was really fun to play, and I think that she was able to like really lean into Iris and sort of get out all of that energy that she has and put it towards something good.
Yeah.
And what was your initial impressions of your characters when you read them in the script?
I mean, when I first read the script, I saw, like, what was it? What was the description? It was a brown-haired girl who was, her bus came in too quick when she was young, and now she doesn't know what to do, so she kind of hides herself, and she sort of sunk into her, she really, really is in her shell the entire, well, not the entire movie, that's the whole point, is that she learns to love herself through Maggie, but yeah, my initial impression was, oh, she has layers. Like, this character would be really cool to get to explore her intentions behind every line and every scene. Yeah, she just had a depth to her that I think really drew me toward the role initially as well.
Yeah, when I received the script, I immediately started, that's when I know I really love a script, is when I subconsciously just start writing thoughts in my notebook as I'm reading it. And when I met Martha at a coffee shop, I basically just dropped 5 pages of notes in front of her and was like, hire me, please. I have so many thoughts about this character, and bribed her into hiring me.
She did bribe me. It's weird because it's like everyone wants you to explain why you make decisions in a logical way, but just looking at pictures of Liana and watching her in clips and stuff, I knew that she was Maggie before meeting her.
Right.
And, everyone's always like, don't jump, shop around, talk, and I was just like, no. So I knew I wanted her, but we met, and then the big thing was just making sure that they could get along and be friends on the screen. So Kara was cast first. So.
And you guys obviously had a good connection, good rapport.
God, we immediately clicked. I was like, please hire her. I love her. She has to be Maggie. You gotta be on Maggie.
It was a really exciting experience. I remember Martha was about to leave for Washington, and I think I drove to someone's house at 10 at night and was just ready to go.
You're packing. You're moving.
Oh yeah, I was moving. You're right. I was in the middle of a movie.
Moving.
I dropped moving. Yeah, I did. But yeah, she's a really interesting character, and I feel like I think in this whole film, they're very eccentric people, or eccentric characters, but all of their attributes, I feel like a lot of people do possess them in their lives, and I think that's what's so interesting about this movie, is that in some way you can relate to one of these characters, and they're all very human.
So you had some probably personal things that you could pull from for the role?
Definitely. I think that all of us, we've kind of always talked about this, there are definitely parts of Iris that I really relate to, and there are parts of Maggie that I really relate to. It just kind of depends on the day, but there are also things that Maggie is going through that I could never understand. But that's the beauty of acting and exploring that world. So.
Right. And I know you mentioned as far as casting these two, what about the rest of the cast, finding the parents? And was that difficult? Did you have anyone in mind at first?
It is difficult because, there's a soft science of film financing and adult roles mean numbers and stuff like that. Right. So creatively, your hands are tied sometimes. But thankfully on this one, I got to cast both people that were cool with the financiers and people I really have always wanted to work with. And Shea Wiggum, for instance, I was teasing him that he's the Marlon Brando of my film school, because when I went to the University of North Carolina School there at School of Filmmaking, and David Gordon Green was our big alumni that had come out of the school at that point, and Shay's in this movie called All the Real Girls, and he blew us away. We were like the Shea Wiggum fan club, and so if you could have told me at 19 that I'd get to work with Shea Wiggum later, I wouldn't have believed it. So it's just funny that how things work out.
Right.
Tony and Mullen were both, our producer Laura had worked with them before, and I really wanted Tony for the role. I thought casting against type would be really interesting for that. And he just looks like a man from that era.
He does.
Yeah.
Like an old photograph.
And Mullen's such like a classic beauty from that era too.
Yeah, she does look like she could
Yeah.
definitely like be in some kind of period. with
Yeah.
a
Oh,
different
like
period.
an old magazine.
Yeah,
cover.
definitely.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And Adelaide Clemens. So I am a huge fan of Rectify, and her character on that show is just. I was just like, she's one of the most. You just watch her and just fall in love with her.
Right.
And so I've always wanted to work with her from that. I mean, and Jordana, like I loved My Boys and like from TBS in the early aughts. Like all of these people, it's weird because you watch different actors and there's just some people make an impression, and all of them had made an impression in some way.
Right.
So yeah, before.
And what was it like working with the actors that played your parents, as far as like rapport goes, and just working with them? Was it easy?
Pretty funny.
It was awesome. I mean, it's crazy because obviously, Maggie's storyline is there are a lot of things that go on in her life and her family life, and I think that it has every right for that set to be quiet and and it wasn't. It's such a testament to how talented they are, and they're just like such seasoned pros. Like they're so lighthearted, and they want to make the best of the experience. And I loved working with them. It's so cool to like get to pick their brains, and
They're both sweethearts too.
Yeah. so
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and the actors who played my parents, Shea Wiggum and Jordana Spiro, I learned so much working with them. And also it was just such a pleasure because they were both such kind, relaxed, wonderful human beings, and we had some intense scenes as well. So to be able to feel so comfortable with both of them, just because they were such good people and such good talented actors, and they were going to give this scene everything, to play off them was a dream.
You have time for one more question.
Okay. Any specific inspirations, film, acting, anything like that you've had growing up? Like any films that inspired you to become a director, or?
I'd say the first movie that inspired me to become a director was Edward Scissorhands. When I watched it, I was just taken to another world. Honestly, the films like the 80s and early 90s films of Tim Burton were a huge part of me feeling like a weird misfit in East Kentucky, and knowing I wasn't alone, and seeing like the power of story through moving images, and what Tim Burton was able to do with that, and create these places that I don't know. He was a unique bird, I guess. But yeah.
And that's a fabulous movie, obviously.
I love Edward Scissorhands, and there's some weird kind of ties to Edward Scissorhands and to the Stars in a way that I've always said To the Stars has aspects of like old monster movies, with like town people getting angry with like pitchforks. I'm not going to go into what I'm talking about.
Small town kind of.
Yeah, like mob mentality, and Edward Scissorhands has that.
Yeah.
And To the Stars might have a little bit of that.
Terrific. And are you guys seeing anything else while you're here? It's a quick question.
We'd love to. We'd love to. We have to figure that out. Screenings are so hard to get into here. Just if you haven't already gotten your ticket, it's like gonna be a little crazy. So hopefully we'll get the chance to actually relax and see
experience it more.
So many good movies.
I'm here for the long run, so I'm seeing stuff next week. I just haven't figured it out. I'm gonna see at least 3 movies, or I'll be mad at myself.
It's a good goal. Probably doable.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.